Oh yeah, baby, we back.
We back here on our
left nut.
It's Monday. It's not our favorite. We'll say that for sure, but we are still gonna do it, okay? Well, great, guys. This is a crowd favorite kind of topic, and that is because people really they think it's really funny to make fun of an elderly man with dementia, okay? There's an elderly Canadian man who's clearly losing his mind, and there's just a long paper trail on the internet about it. Let's make fun of his ass. And this guy, Jordan Teeterston, when he's not falling for satire on Twitter, which he did again for the fourth time within a month. This one is a satire site that says that Budweiser brands won't be welcome at Oktoberfest for the first time in 75 years. The community post here says that this is a satire site, and Jordan Peterson has once again fallen for satire, thinking it's real. And when he's not doing that, he's uploading the most stupid and disturbing videos you can imagine. So this one, man.
Dead.
Okay.
Dead.
That's creepy.
Hello, everyone. Heather Lynn McDonald is an American political commentator, essayist, attorney, and author.
Never heard of her.
Her new book, mid-April release, When Race Trumps Merit, is now available.
Okay.
And then it turns out that if the ability to deal with complexity is one of the hallmarks of merit, then the best predictor of that ability is a test of general cognitive ability.
Right.
And essentially, an age-corrected test of general cognitive ability is an...
I'm just curious, would Twitter satire posts and being able to discern whether or not they're fake or real, that's kind of a test of cognitive ability, right? Okay. Oh!
What really is a concern to our society at this point is the breakdown of bourgeois values. And you say there's no differences in conscientiousness among groups. I hope that's the case.
Okay.
But that's really, I think, our race problems would go away if we could extirpate the dysfunctional underclass culture.
Oh, boy.
And that is something that is tearing down Blacks' potential to succeed by embracing this oppositional culture that says that academic effort and achievement is acting white.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? I did not read this before, but I'm just seeing it in the description now. This woman is a senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute. Okay, so another way to put that is that she's a shameless propagandist. So that makes this whole thing slightly less shocking because, so I mean, what you just heard her say is it's basically propaganda from the 70s. I mean, they've been saying the same thing for decades. Oh, there's inequality, there's an economic crisis and all that. That's your fault because of the fact of that some people are dumber than other people. Okay, bye.
Well, let's face it, the feminization of the university is a complete disaster. It explains a heck of a lot that we're seeing now that we regard as pathological, especially the shutdown of...
Right. In other words, women be universitying, I guess, is another way to put it.
I recently decided that women shouldn't vote.
Women be at the college, am I right, fellas? Am I right?
No.
Okay, here we go. On with Jordy's propaganda friend here. Check this part out. Here we go. This is something. This is really some real... Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Ability and how people live outside of Cambridge or New Haven. And it reminds me when you read the founders' rhetoric.
Who?
And 18th century political theorists.
Right.
And it's not an egalitarian viewpoint at all, contrary to our current narrative about that.
You got it.
And a certainty that, of course, the people should not be given too much power. They don't necessarily shouldn't have the vote.
Wow.
And the concern about the mob, I think back in the 18th century, there was much more exposure. You don't
Well, hate that. Okay.
have institutions that were completely sealed off to the less cognitive elite. And so there was maybe a little more realism about what the vast range of human experience was.
Right. So if you didn't catch that, what she's basically saying there is, the founders kind of knew that people are too stupid for democracy. Most people are just too stupid, and that just a small number of cognitive elites. You're talking to a guy who weeks ago thought that a Chinese milking facility post was real. Okay, so on and on and on. Same old crap, outdated propaganda that's used to just justify inequality and all this crap. But then we get something kind of interesting, and she does this multiple times during this interview. Check this out.
This is getting a little far afield and into sort of Rawlsian definitions of what you would choose in your prior position.
Part of the problem.
Okay, so yeah, this is where things kind of take an interesting, weird turn. Is she brings up John Rawls a couple times, not in a way that's not like, oh, he's an idiot, he didn't know anything kind of way.
Maybe because he was of the white Western or whatever.
If you don't know who John Rawls is, he was a philosopher, writer, Ivy League teacher. I think he was a philosophy teacher. Who cares? But he's, kind of known for this idea of if you didn't know, like if you couldn't see what your position in a society was going to be, what kind of society would you want to live in, basically? And the trick to that is, well, you would probably want a more fair, just society. And she keeps bringing up John Rawls in this way, like, almost like, well, no, he's kind of got a point, or like she likes John Rawls or something. Maybe she thinks he's an idiot. Who knows? But she keeps bringing him up. My understanding of John Rawls, at least Theory of Justice, which I think is his most famous book, does not go with what they're saying at all. John Rawls even said, from what I remember, that a democratic socialist society would be better than what we have now. So it's just like, it's just, the whole point of this is to be like, oh, there's just some cultures. There's just some cultures. Jordy, you hear what up? Wink, Jordy. Wink, wink. There's just some cultures that are just worse. And we're saying all this to defend a system, really, that the guy who I keep referencing was very clear, from my understanding of his crap, is totally unjust. So it's a little weird.
You're basically just laying out a case for the pragmatic utility of trait conscientiousness.
Huh?
And it is the second best predictor of long-term lifetime economic success.
Okay.
And as I said, there is no evidence whatsoever that there are intrinsic ethnic differences in conscientiousness. And there's certainly no evidence that...
I'd be surprised.
That,
really?
Wow.
I'd be surprised.
Well, I'm surprised as
you
well,
would be
but
surprised.
that is the case. And the idea...
Good Lord, Jordy, where do you dig up these idiots? There's no proof that conscientiousness is divided by ethnicities. And then the lady goes, I'd be surprised by that. Oh, actually, I was surprised too. Grandma and Grandpa having a great discussion. I mean, on and on and on with this absolute toilets. She's got a BA from Yale, an MA from Cambridge, went to Stanford, and she spends all her time pooping out propaganda. Basically the same crap that these people have been saying since the 70s about why is there lots of inequality. It's not what she keeps bringing up John Rawls, not what John Rawls said, which is, it's a choice of how a society is structured and all this stuff. No, it's just that some people are dumber, including ethnically. Some people are ethnically dumber and less conscientious. Unbelievable that people are still uploading this stuff. I mean, I guess that's Jordy's show. It's the grandpa hour, I mean, I know that it's pretty, it's a drag to see people still talking like this. I mean, she is basically paid to do this. But less and less people believe this. This is a dying thing. This is a dying ideology, and she's like a fossil trying to squeeze some money out of it, I mean, but this is really just such a drab, kind of useless way of looking at the world, kind of a sad way of looking at the world that's inaccurate as well. It's just instead of like, how can we make a society more just and more, and maximize people's potential and lift the floor of society and make life better for the average person, all that. It's just like, no, some people are just stupider. It's all a cutthroat competition to get to the very top, and that's it. And that's all society can ever be, which is, of course, not true. It's provably not true. But this old bat, just kidding, guys. Come on.
That's creepy.
But this old beautiful, but this old goofball has to come out and do this little tap dance for Jordy, and it makes you want to go like this.
What a pervert.
Okay, then we get into the subject of art. Ooh, wow. Ooh, art. It sounds like this. That's paint. You go like that, and then you go like this.
Uber cars.
You drive Uber cars over it, and then you go like this. So let's hear about it. Let's hear about I call them the fine arts. Let's hear it.
What matters is the unbearable eros of Brahms's solo piano work.
Whoa.
The pathos of a Chopin nocturne or mazurka. The elation that one gets from Rameau's opera overtures or Mozart's the thrill of Mozart's extraordinary energy and passion
and 100
and
gags.
sublimity. Still life.
And probably jazz too, right? Jazz, right? The jazz age. Oh, that's probably not in your story. That's probably not right.
All of these teach us and literature that allows us to enter modes of human consciousness that we never would have had access to.
I know. I read that stuff. I go like this. And frankly,
if we remained mired in our petty, narrow, narcissistic selves.
Whoa, hey.
Artists have the capacity to take us along with them.
That I agree with, yeah.
Into their observation. These traditions that have given us so much beauty, so much ability to leave behind possibly even our sorrows.
Mm-hmm.
And lose ourselves instead in a novel of somebody else that is filled with wit and irony, whether it's Mark Twain or George Eliot.
Okay.
We can lose ourselves for hours in those imaginary worlds. They are now every single Western tradition is being torn down on the phony charge of racism.
I think you can still access all that stuff. Hold on. Let me check this. Amazon dot. Is it com? Okay. Yeah, you can still get all that crap. So I don't think it's. Oh, the Mark Twain collection box set. Ooh, that looks pretty nice. I don't think it's torn down if you could just touch your little sausage finger on a button and immediately have it. But that's okay. Lady, whatever you say.
Yahoos have to do, all that the rabble has to do, is point out that a tradition that was born in Europe, which was demographically, historically, ineluctably white, is therefore racist. Museum curators are now turning on their own collections that have been given to them over the centuries by donors of immense generosity. The inevitable wall plaque now, if you go to the 17th century Dutch and Flemish wing of a museum, I've noticed this in the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. It's true in the Metropolitan Museum.
Okay.
But these curators are teaching young people who may be entering their museums for the first and possibly the last time to see beauty through the eyes of racial resentment. Those museum directors should all be fired. They are betraying.
Well, guys, I don't know about you, but I've been in many museums, to use the bathroom, and on my way to the bathroom, I noticed these, all this crap that she's talking about, all these paintings and all this stuff. All that stuff that she likes, this painting snob, all this stuff that she likes, it's there. You go stare at it all day, lady, if you want. Take your little, your little yogurt or whatever and stare at it. I really don't. It's a little unclear exactly what she's talking about. I think I've read maybe like one story about that there was like a little plaque somewhere that right-wingers got upset because it said like some painting was racist. It was like a slaveholder punching somebody or something. And that was a painting. And they said, by the way, there's a little plaque. By the way, this is racist. So, please don't sue the art gallery or something. This doesn't really make a whole lot of sense if you're just on the surface, if you're just listening. What? The art galleries don't exist? What are you talking about? Hey, you can't read Mark Twain anymore? Like, what are you talking about? It doesn't really make sense. It just practically doesn't make any sense. But it makes sense if she's trying to tell a story that connects to what she was talking about earlier, which is, some cultures are just worse. And that's why there's inequality. Of course, we're shoving all history and how economics really works right in the
toilets
on that one. There's just some people just have a worse culture. That's really where this only makes sense. Oh, the beautiful white paintings are being taken down also. That's the only way this stuff really makes any sense. In other words, it's a way to translate what she's saying is... Okay, what's Jordy got to say about all this? What weird stuff does he have to say about this?
See this in English literature departments, for example, is that in principle, the people who study English literature are great admirers of the literary tradition. But of course, one of the things that's painful, if you happen to be an academic who admires a great author, is the realization of your comparative inability to produce such a great work. And if you love those works and are unable to replicate them yourself, it's quite easy to fall prey to a kind of bitter resentment. And then if you ally that with a Marxist doctrine, which is
who are you talking? Okay,
quite convenient on the moral front, you can claim moral superiority to the progenitors of that tradition on the basis of their hypothetical participation in the oppression landscape. And so you can falsely elevate yourself above even that which you love. And you destroy your own ideal in doing so. And that's a heavy...
Okay, good contribution there by the Jordarino. This lady, they don't want the beautiful white Western art tradition to continue. Who knows? Because of the fact of these is that they're jealous. They're jealous that this unnamed person, number one, couldn't create that art. Great podcast, guys. Kind of interesting. These people are like, some people just have no merit and they have bad culture and they're just dumb. Also, we're making the dumbest content. The most ahistorical, just mindless, repeating propaganda from the 70s. Bullcrap anybody's ever seen. Beautiful. Almost poetic in a very stupid kind of way.
Okay. I can hardly walk into art museums anymore because...
Oh my God, what a tragedy. I'm so sorry.
These great works of art.
Yeah.
And then beside them, there's a commentary, which basically, I don't think there's...
if only there was a way to look at that. If only there was a way to avoid the commentary, maybe like by not reading the little plaque and just looking at the painting or whatever. This is sort of how I stopped watching films. I call them films, okay?
Because I'm kind of just more serious about it than you guys.
But I had to stop watching films, actually, because I go watch the film and I'm like, what a beautiful piece of Western tradition. I say that out loud while I'm watching it. I'm drinking my kombucha as loud as possible in the theater, saying that out loud. And then I go home and I look on Letterboxd and somebody's like, it sucked. And I'm like, nope, can't watch films anymore because of that guy on Letterboxd. It's just, that's what it is. And it's ruined. It's ruined for all eternity. And it makes me go like this. Oh. Okay, here we go. And then Jordy goes on a thing about how stupid people are. Here we go.
Part of the problem, and this is an intractable problem, is
Jordy?
And it is really a painful thing to encounter. One of the things that the authors of The Bell Curve pointed out, Richard Herrnstein, one of the authors, was that in the typical Ivy League environment, the typical Ivy League inhabitant never meets anybody in the lower half of the cognitive ability distribution. And so if you happen to teach at Harvard, your less able students are people who have an IQ of 115. And that puts them at the 85th percentile in the general population. You never have a student who has an IQ of 100, and you certainly never have a student who has an IQ of 85, which is 10% of the population. And one of the things Herrnstein pointed out is that what that means is that the typical elite, the typical inhabitant of an elite institution has no idea what the full range of human cognitive ability actually constitutes. Now, I was a clinician for a very long time, and I had many clients who were inhabitants of the lower end of the cognitive distribution. So I had.
Yet, were they not able to spot fake Twitter posts, Jordy? Okay, so what these two old dingbats are going on and on about is just like, well, there's just a lot of stupid people. Some people are just stupid, and that's proven on tests. You do bad on a test, you're stupid. And there are just some people that are just stupid. And, I knew a guy he couldn't even fold an envelope. So anyway, I got to go to the bathroom. And it's funny that they mention Ivy League colleges here too. Oh, an Ivy Leaguer, they'll never even meet one of these stupids, They'll never even meet somebody like
Arun Brown.
But let's look into that a little bit. Here's a fun little fact. The Ivy League colleges, Stanford, Duke, and other prestigious prep places, at these places there are more students from the wealthiest 1% of families than from the entire bottom half of the country. I think it's even worse than that now. At Yale and Princeton, only about 1 student in 50 comes from a poor family. Okay, so you hear this kind of stuff all the time, but what's really going on there is actually pretty interesting. And I've recommended this book before, and this is an inconvenient fact for Jordy, but this is the reality. It's a book called The Meritocracy Trap by this guy, Daniel Markovits. He's all over YouTube if you want to check him out. He puts tons and tons of data and all kinds of data about this in that book. Is that what seems to be really important here? Why so many students from the wealthiest 1%? It's kind of simple if you think about it. Their parents have way more money to invest in their education. So is that cognitive ability, or is that just investment? Yeah, if you invest a ton of money and go to the best schools, yeah, they're probably going to be more likely to get into these fancy pants schools. So this totally flushes all your guys' ideas right down the
toilets.
It's not cognitive ability. These guys, you listen to the language. Some people are just dumb. Some people are dumb, and some people are just not dumb. By the way, those people who are less dumb, in our words, their parents invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in their education.
The typical public high school, the median public high school in America, spends between $12,000 and $15,000 per pupil per year on educating its students. The Forbes top 20 private schools spend about $75,000 per pupil per year on educating their students. And unsurprisingly, those schools send maybe a third of their kids to the Ivy League.
That's a little bit of an inconvenient fact for your just some people are dumb approach to this crap. You two idiots, you. Here comes the police to get you. So there we go, guys. That's about as much as I could take of Jordy and this crazy lady who's doing God knows what. They're both doing this. And they're both doing this. And then they go like this.
What?
Guys, it's Monday. That's a big problem for us. Huge problem, okay?
We still do it with the help of our dad, whose name is Jesus Christ, the Lord. And I hope you guys have a fun week, and I hope you get a little bit
weird
and a little bit
disgusting.
Thanks for watching, guys. Love you so much, and
bye. Toilets.
Oh, hey, guys.
Guess what? You're not even getting the whole show. If you want every episode and a whole bunch of other
subscribe on Patreon.
Subscribe on Patreon for as little as 2 bones. Just click the stupid little link below the video in the comments.
See, right there.
There you go. Click it, and that, yep. When you become a patron for as little as 2 bones, you get the Tuesday, Thursday, patron-only episodes. You also get the weekly Book Oblega show where we talk about important books. The questions and comments thing where you can ask questions and make comments and all this crap.
All for less than the price of a rancid Charleston Chew.
And for only 25 putrid little dollars,
you could become a producer.
That's right, support the show and get your name up here. Look at these people. Look at these people. It make the show possible, okay? God. I mean, without these beautiful people, this show goes straight into the dumpster. A rotten, just wet, disgusting dumpster, behind a restaurant. So there's old milk in there. That's where this show ends up without these people. Is that what you want? Okay, I guess it's what you want. I'll just leave. Nope, it's done. It's too late. Okay? Here we go. Here's the dump truck. Here's the dump truck come to pick up the show. This is what would happen with no producers. Thank you.